Hello there everyone and welcome to round 3 of the CRS British Touring Car Championship. Today we are here at the Snetterton 200 circuit and your pole sitter on the front rows, Joseph McKenna and his Carina, very closely followed by MBG in second. Me and Jaden brought up the second row in his BMW and my Peugeot 405. Scalaris on his CRS debut was able to secure 5th position, followed by Tom in another fellow BMW. Bread not having all too much luck in qualifying this time around, put his car P7 with Fapster in P8 alongside. Row 5 would consist of Method and Toru. Toru in that Sierra putting in some very decent qualifying results, very consistent, I do have to say. Vinny not feeling it either this time round, qualifying P11 with Assetto Corsa P12. Row 7 would consist of Dominancos in his Mondeo and Plunkett in his Pinckney Motorsports BMW. Row 8 would be Rosti in the Cavalier and then Bowtie in his Mondeo. Bringing up the rear after a qualifying penalty would be Clementine in his Acuria Ecos Vauxhall Cavalier. So off the line we did expect a little bit of carnage. Not having a staggered start here at Snetterton will play into a factor, so the BMWs are going to get a lot quicker launches than the front wheel drives do. We can see Brett stalling it off the line, having the clutch kick it. I ended up turning into Tom in the straight lines, I just didn't know he was there, and that with the launch of that rear wheel drive you could see how many places Toru caught up. He ended up hitting into the side of Tom as half the field go onto the grass, either avoiding action or just going for the rallycross method. Bread unfortunately gets hit by a steady drifter, that sends him off at the edge of turn 2. A little bit of contact between Plunkett and Toru as well as they all power down the back straight. We don't have a camera view of it, but Jaden and MBG made a little bit of contact on corner exit, which sent MBG off into the inside wall, and that put him right back to the rear of the grid. Coming down then into that heavy left braking zone, a very difficult corner, especially on cold tyres with a heavy fuel load like we are now. Everyone's really dicing for positions while the field is still close in these early stages. I was able to hold on to my second position that I've managed to receive after Jaden and MBG's incident. Coming round and into the last corner, Vinny would have a look down the inside of Fapster, however Fapster wouldn't give him as much space as Vinny was hoping for, and that would spin him round. So Toru in the Sierra would have a look down the inside of Method coming into the hairpin, unable to get a manoeuvre done. However, they were still side by side, Toru leaving him just enough space to keep it all nice and clean. Coming down then into that, once again, that heavy left cornered braking zone. Everyone really a little bit squirrely under brakes. So coming into the hairpin, this was right down at the back of the field after all of the incidents that had taken place on lap 1. MBG was able to clear past Bread to get up into the next position. However, they would both outbrake themselves, Bread following him into the braking zone, and that would both send them spinning off. Looking out the rear of, I believe, a steady drifter's car here, him and Method would go side by side down the straight and then side by side into the first corner. However, a steady drifter was not interested at all, running him right to the outside of the track, and then Toru cutting across the grass into turn 1 ends up hitting into the side of Method. Plunkett off doing some rallycross in the background as well, and then Bowtie is running it extremely deep into that hairpin, luckily able to take the grass to get back onto the track, coming down onto the back straight then. So this was probably going to be one of the most exciting moments that we saw from this race, as they attempted to go 3 wide down into that heavy braking zone. A little bit of contact made under braking. The Carina is a steady drifter, the BMW is Vinnie Roberts, and Method in that Renault 19, all keeping it nice and clean for that little moment there. So Method unhappy with that. He tries to go for a manoeuvre on the outside, however runs it wide. Vinny keeps his position, but now he has to face off Dominancos in his Mondeo, who's going to out-drag him in a straight line for that first corner. Coming back up to the front of the grid, I have made a slight mistake with my extremely twitchy Peugeot coming into that left-hander, and Jaden was able to get the undercut out the corner to saw past coming into the right-hander. A little bit of contact made, however nothing major. Now I had to think about defending from Scalaris behind, as I know that he didn't want to hang around, even though he's been driving very cleanly for the race so far, so I decided to go for the outside under braking. Jaden now brakes himself, we make contact, which sends Jaden into a spin. I'm able to just mash the power of my front wheel drive to pull it along the grass, and only drop 1 position from that. Vinny then in his BMW trying to go around the outside of Assetto Drifter with a very poor exit. Method going onto the grass maybe, that hits him into the side of Assetto Drifter, which sends him right off down the back straight, luckily with a front wheel drive being able to keep it in the position. Here we can see that's Method just going past the camera there, so he has lost a fair few positions. MBG had worked his way back up to the back of the pack, however an attempt to overtake Plunkett had ended up spinning. Now my attempt of catching up to Scalaris had worked out quite well. A couple laps down the road I was able to catch right back up to him, and around the outside of the first corner my car felt absolutely planted and I was able to get the manoeuvre done there, as we see Fapster in the background just taking an extremely dangerous rallycross line. Lots of guys here exploring track limits, as it's definitely one of those tracks where it's hard to get into a rhythm, as you've got so many hard braking zones from fast corners to slow corners, and it's really unpredictable every single lap. Coming down then into that left-right hander, Tom runs it wide on the corner exit, and that loses him a couple positions as he can't put the power down unless he wants the rear end of that car to spin round. Method then having a look down the inside of Dominancos, or he's defending. I can't particularly remember, I'll be honest, as they come down and into the last corner. Method able to hold off under braking, Dominancos clipping that inside curb. But here we are on board with Bowtie then. He goes for a suicidal dive bomb, narrowly avoiding Dominancos in that Mondeo, but with the line that Tom had to take out the corner, he's got a much better exit than usual, and he was able to use that to get past Dominancos under braking into the left-right hander, and then defend perfectly into that right hander to gain another position after his first corner off on that lap 1. As they power around the right hander then, I believe this is where Dominancos makes a rather aggressive manoeuvre, having a look for the inside, but there's no space there, clips the rear of Tom, that sends him round. Bowtie's now got nowhere to go, and Rusty in the Cavalier says thank you very much and gets a very nice free positions handed to him straight away there. Rusty very happy with that after talking to him after the race. So as we come down into the hairpin, I believe everyone has sort of mellowed themselves out by this point, as no overtaking manoeuvres were carried out. A little bit of defending from Dominancos, but apart from that, that was about it. After his recovery drive from that early on incident with me, Jaden made a mistake coming round that second to last corner, and now he's got to deal with Fapster in that Mondeo, who was just pushing so hard to try and catch up to the back of Scalaris in another fellow BMW. So, coming round to the second corner, Fapster runs it wide, goes over the curb, then gets sent into the side of Jaden. Jaden then goes off onto the grass, struggling to keep that car in a straight line, and it's only a couple laps later when we see a rather controversial move from Jaden, braking about a couple car lengths, 2 car lengths maybe, later than usual, just to give Fapster a little tap in the rear to send him off wide. Obviously that didn't go down too well with the management, but the driver of the day by far was Joseph McKenna in his Eni Carina, absolutely destroying the field, putting in very consistent quick lap times, and really showing us that you can get into a rhythm with this track. Ignore what I said earlier. So this was the last corner on the last lap. Rusty and Bowtie were having a bit of a battle where Bowtie just runs off wide. I'm spamming the horn because I think he's going to come back onto the track, and Bowtie was not particularly too happy with that, but Rusty was very much indeed. So your race winner, as said earlier, was Joseph McKenna in his Eni Cavalier Carina. And then me once again, second place of the season so far in 3 rounds. Your third place position was Scalaris in his Schnitzer BMW, who's just going to come across the line now. Then Jaden did manage to claw back into 4th place after his off. He was a little bit down the grid, so that got him that place there. Fapster managing to score a very decent P5, very respectable. Toru clawing back places through the grid to get P6. It was then Vinnie Roberts in P7, Method P8, Assetto Drifter P9, and Tom closing out the top 10 in his Listerine BMW, which was very respectful after his incident on turn 1. Here we can see Jaden just going Jaden mode once again, doing an amazing power slide around the first corner. But thank you all very much for watching this video then, guys. If you did enjoy, please leave a like, and if you would like to join the CRS Discord, a link to it will be down in the description below. So thank you all very much for watching, and goodbye.